You know I love me some roommate drama. What drama don't I love though? As long as it doesn't affect me. This story was first posted June 10th, 2025, which is quite literally last week. So I, 21 female, live in a 2-bedroom flat with my roommate, 22 female. We've lived together for a little over a year and mostly things have been fine. We split rent and bills evenly and we're friendly, though not super close. We respect each other's space and it's been good up until recently. About 6 months ago, she started dating this guy, 24 male. He was around once or twice a week at first, but now he's here constantly. Literally sleeps over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes full weeks in a row. He's not on the lease, doesn't pay rent, doesn't bring shopping, doesn't help with anything at all, nothing. I've never said much because I get it, it's her boyfriend and I didn't want to start any drama. But what's been bothering me lately is the shower thing. He showers all the time, like twice a day minimum, sometimes more. And every single time he uses my stuff. My shampoo, conditioner, face wash, razor, razor? You're telling me when you're shaving your pretty little legs, that razor could have been on that man's nutsack? Oh, face wash, razor, deodorant. What's happening? Yes, I noticed. I didn't even say anything the first few times because I thought maybe she let him borrow something once, but this is just ongoing now. I have moved all my things into my room and I carry them back and forth like I'm at camp or something. I brought it up to my roommate a while ago and she just went, he probably didn't realize and didn't do anything about it. Last week, I finally said something more direct and I told her I wasn't comfortable with him showering here constantly, especially since he doesn't live here, doesn't contribute anything, and uses my stuff. I told her I'd feel different if he at least brought his own stuff or chipped in somehow. She got super annoyed and said he doesn't have any money right now, so it's not like he can buy his own things, and that I was being cold and controlling. She told me I was overreacting and that it's just hygiene. I snapped and I said it's not about hygiene, it's about boundaries and respect. For what it's worth, I wouldn't have even minded grabbing him some basics if she just asked, but she didn't. And neither did he. They just assumed I would be fine with it. And honestly, I don't even really like him. He's not awful, just kind of moochy and not self-aware at that. So maybe I'm being harsh because I already find him annoying. Now my roommate barely speaks to me and told one of our mutual friends that I'm being weirdly territorial and passive-aggressive over a guy taking a quick shower. Yeah, that's not what this is. But okay, downplay it. I don't know, part of me feels bad because he is broke and maybe I'm just being too harsh, but I also feel like I'm being walked over in my own home. I just need unbiased advice. So, am I the a-hole? Pour your thoughts and feelings into the comments, but of course, we got an update, which came the very next day. So I ended up having another conversation with my roommate after she got home, mostly because I couldn't keep walking around like everything's fine when it's really not, and the comments I read from my previous post helped me to come to that conclusion. I told her as calmly as I could that this situation is seriously getting to me. I get it that she is in love, but I'm not just some side character in her life who has to deal with the boyfriend constantly being in our home. I told her flat out that it's been months now of him basically living here, eating, showering, hanging around, sleeping over 5 to 6 nights a week, and it is crossing a line. She just kind of blinked at me and said I was being heartless. Literally said those exact words, saying I had no compassion for her relationship or for him, or the fact he had barely any money and needed somewhere to stay most days and needed food, etc. She accused me of being dramatic and caring more about shampoo than a person who means the world to her. And I just snapped. I told her this is not about shampoo. It's about the fact that her boyfriend, who doesn't pay rent, doesn't contribute to bills, and isn't even on the lease, has been using all of my personal stuff for months without asking. He literally never asked, not once, and neither did she. He just started helping himself to my shampoo, all that stuff she named before, like I'm running a free hotel and he is a guest. And the worst part is, he barely even talks to me. This man has been living in my space for months, and I swear we've had maybe 2 conversations ever. Half the time, he doesn't even say hi when he walks in the door and just walks straight past me like I'm invisible, and then hops in the shower with my products like it's no big deal. I can't believe I have to put up with it for this long. I told her if either of them had asked even just once, I probably would have been chill about it. Like, yeah, he's broke, I get it, because times are hard. I would have even offered to grab him a few basics if he was short on cash, but no one said anything. They just silently decided it was okay for him to mooch off me and my stuff and my space without so much of a conversation, like I don't get a say in any of this. She got super defensive, like arms crossed and full of attitude, and said something like, well, he's my boyfriend and I'm allowed to have him over. It's my home too. And I said, yeah, you are allowed to have him over, but let's not pretend like he's here just sometimes. He's always here. He's been here more nights than not for the past few months, and when he's not sleeping over, he's still around. He basically moved in without actually moving in. And if he's gonna act like he lives here, then he needs to contribute like he lives here. She just rolled her eyes and said, and I quote, "Get used to it. He's my boyfriend, and as I said before, he has barely any money, so he wouldn't be able to contribute anything." And that was it for me. I've been so patient. I've tried to be understanding. I've given them the benefit of the doubt over and over again. But at this point, I feel completely disrespected and walked over in my own home. I've realized I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting to months of not being heard and being treated like I don't matter. I am calling our landlord tomorrow morning. I'm going to explain that this guy has effectively moved in. He's been staying here for weeks on end, using the amenities, taking up space, and not paying a single penny toward the bills. And if he's going to keep staying here, he needs to start paying his share. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm not going to keep carrying the weight of a third person in this flat just because my roommate's in a relationship. She made it clear she's not going to do anything about it, so now I have to. This is gonna get messy. It already is, but whew! All right, the next update came the next day. So like I said I would, this morning I spoke to my landlord. I was so anxious before calling because I didn't want it to feel like I was tattling or trying to blow things up, but I also knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. He picked up quickly and was actually really calm and professional about everything. I explained the situation as clearly and fairly as I could, and I told him that my roommate's boyfriend has been staying over, using all the utilities, taking over our shared space, and even using some personal things like it's all free despite not paying a single penny toward the rent or bills or even any shopping. The landlord paused for a moment and then told me that it wasn't okay. He told me that technically, under the lease, guests aren't allowed for short stays like the occasional overnight or weekend. But then said that's very different from someone else effectively living in the flat, and that if someone is staying over more than a couple nights a week on a consistent basis, that counts as an unofficial tenant. He said that if my roommate wants him there full time, he needs to be added to the lease and start contributing to rent and bills immediately. Otherwise, he said her boyfriend would have to seriously cut back on how often he's staying over, and if my roommate refuses to cooperate or tries to keep things as they are, it could result in her being in breach of the lease agreement. He said she could face consequences, including possible eviction if this continues without resolution. That honestly shook me a little, but also validated that I'm not overreacting. Now, on to the more awkward part. A few hours ago, at around 5 p.m., her boyfriend showed up again. As he came in and went to walk past me, like usual, I stopped him and said that I needed to talk to him. He looked caught off guard and kind of gave me that fake confused about what expression, but I stood firm and I said I just needed to clear the air. I told him I noticed he's been staying here constantly and using all my stuff. Okay, the list of things. And yes, I got a new razor the same day I noticed he was using mine. Thank God. All of it without even asking. I said I was really uncomfortable with it, especially since he's not on the lease or contributing anything. That is when he got defensive. He didn't yell or anything, but his tone immediately turned snappy and kind of guilt trippy. He said something like he was sorry he didn't have somewhere else to go right now and that he was in a deep place. He then said that he wasn't trying to make my life hard and that he was just trying to survive. Then he launched into this whole monologue about how he's unemployed, struggling with his mental health, that his family all cut him off, he can barely afford food, let alone shampoo, and how my attitude is just another example of how people turning their backs on someone who's already at rock bottom. He even asked if I think he wants to be in this position or if I think he feels good about the way he lives, like I was supposed to feel guilty for bringing it up. I stayed calm and I told him I wasn't trying to kick him while he's down and that if he just asked, I probably would have said yes and I might have even bought him some basics. But he didn't ask and he just started helping himself like it was owed to him. He didn't really have a response to that other than shrugging and muttering that he didn't think it was a big deal and that my roommate told him it was fine. I'm not understanding why he's not using his girlfriend's stuff. Why is he not using her shampoo and razor and deodorant? Like, why yours? I said, it is a big deal to me. This is my home too, and he has been treating it like a free house that he's allowed to live in, and that is not sustainable anymore. I told him my landlord's going to get involved now and things will have to change. Either he gets added to the lease and starts paying his share, or he stops staying over all the time. And if neither, my roommate could end up being evicted. He got quiet after that, gave me some annoyed half apology, and went into her room. Honestly, I think he was more embarrassed than anything, but I'm not backing down now because I've done my part and I've been patient. I've communicated like an adult, so what happens next is on them. No word yet from my roommate after her convo with the landlord, which I assume happened as my landlord doesn't usually say stuff and not follow through with it. And she still hasn't come back home, which leads me to believe that she is furious. That said, I am done prioritizing her comfort over my peace of mind as I've been more than fair. I will update again if/when my roommate says anything to me. Also, I have officially locked my shower stuff away and the snacks that I had previously bought, which were my snacks that I bought with my money. I went to Argos this morning and got one of those little lockable storage boxes and slid it under my bed, as some of you suggested. I made a very unique 4-digit code for it too, so hopefully my roommate's boyfriend doesn't go out of the extreme of trying to open and snoop through my locked box. I hope not. Maybe put up a camera in your room. We got more updates, but you know what time it is. Do you think I could balance this on my head? I bet I can. How long though? That's the real question. Oh. Okay, not very long. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, come on! I thought I was gonna get to 10 seconds. If I get it to 10 seconds, you all owe me a like or a subscribe. Or a comment. I'll take anything. 1, 2. No! 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No! Motherfucker. Come on, man. I'm determined. This is such a waste of time. I don't even care. I'm having fun. What do you do for a living? 1, 2, 3. I give up. Drink. Cheers. Yeah. I'm pissed. Next update was 2 days later, June 12th. Before I get into the latest update, I did see a comment asking why I didn't just ask her why he doesn't use her stuff. That's what I was wondering. And the answer is because he already does, LOL. He uses both of our stuff whenever he feels like it, but for some reason, it's mostly mine that he grabs. Anyways, my roommate came home about an hour ago, just before 12 p.m., and it was obvious from the second she walked through the door that she was furious. She slammed the front door shut, slammed her keys a little too hard on the side table, and threw her bag down. I was in the living room at the time, and the energy shift was instant. I waited a moment, then came out from the living room, said hello, and asked as gently as I could if everything was okay. She didn't answer right away and just stood there with her jaw clenched before blurting out that she couldn't believe I actually called our landlord, and then asked me why I was being so dramatic. I stayed calm and said that I had already told her I was going to if nothing changed and that I didn't go behind her back. She gave this bitter laugh and said something along the lines of, yeah, well now thanks to that, our landlord told me in no uncertain terms that boyfriend's name, is not allowed to stay more than 2 nights a week anymore unless he starts paying rent. She was absolutely livid. She asked me if I even understood what that meant, and then said he literally has nowhere else to go right now and he's been staying here because he doesn't have a home, not because we were trying to take advantage of me or something. She kept telling me that he was struggling and would have no money to pay rent or bills, and now what? What is he supposed to just wander around in the cold at night and freeze to death while you, and I quote, sleep soundly knowing your shampoos are safe and sound? The last line was so sarcastic, it would have been funny if it wasn't so frustrating and guilt-tripping. I took a deep breath and I said it was not about the shampoo, it was about how he is constantly living here without being asked to contribute anything and literally had barely even acknowledged me, ever. I mentioned that I tried to talk to her about it twice and she blew it off both times. What else was I supposed to do? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was the most cold-hearted person alive. She told me he was her boyfriend and of course she would want him here. That he's going through so much and now I've made it so he feels completely unwelcome. She told me his family cut him off one day with no reason at all and his friends stopped talking to him too and apparently treated him awfully. Which in my opinion seems ironic, but maybe that's just me. Apparently, he called her after I confronted him earlier and told her he's going to stay at a friend's place tonight and he sounded like he was about to cry before he hung up the phone. Then said this was just another example of people not giving an F about him when he needs it the most. I literally didn't even hear him leave, so he must have just crept out. I could feel the guilt tripping in every word, but honestly, I've reached the point where I'm done letting it get to me. I said that I was sorry he's going through a rough time, but this is my home too. I pay rent, I pay bills, I keep this place going just like she does. I'm not an extra in her relationship. She brought someone into this space without asking and didn't lift a finger when it started affecting me. That's not okay. She went quiet at that, still clearly annoyed, but with nothing left to say that wouldn't sound more of the same. After a few seconds, she just said, I hope you're happy, and walked off into her room, slamming the door behind her. I'm not happy. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm also not sorry. I've been way more patient than I should have been, and I tried to handle this like an adult. I don't think her boyfriend feeling unwelcome is because I'm cruel. It's because they've both acted like the rules don't apply to them, and that it's just my fault. So, I guess this is where things stand for now. Tense, awkward, and probably about to get worse before they get better. Can girlfriend and boyfriend just move out and get their own place? Like, and girlfriend can just pay the bills for them? Because that's what she's doing right now since he's not contributing. Well, so are you. We do have another update, don't you worry. This update was June 13th. It has been tense but quiet ever since my last post. My roommate has barely spoken to me and things have mostly been awkward silence or heavy sighs. I've kept my boundaries up and stayed polite, but we both clearly needed space. Yesterday, my roommate and her boyfriend, yes, he was over to collect some of his things, had a huge argument. I wasn't eavesdropping, but it was loud enough that I couldn't not hear it as our walls were thin and they were yelling. He was accusing her of being a bad girlfriend for not sticking up for him when I talked to our landlord, or sticking up for him when I raised an issue, which she did. He actually said that she let me humiliate him and that she didn't even defend him, and said I have made him look pathetic. He went on a full guilt trip saying she's betrayed him and that real partners are supposed to protect each other. He said he felt humiliated, abandoned, and that she clearly didn't care about him at all. It was like watching someone weaponize hurt feelings just to control his narrative. She was crying and trying to explain, but he kept cutting her off, and then suddenly, boom, he slammed the door and stormed out. She followed shortly after. I thought that was probably the end of the drama for the night. I genuinely felt bad for her at that moment, but then at like 2 a.m. this morning, she came stumbling in, tipsy, and immediately started shouting at me. She slurred something about me being jealous and mad because I don't have a boyfriend. I literally couldn't be further from being jealous of her and her boyfriend, as he seems to be so cruel and guilt-tripping towards her. Then she said it's because I can't stand seeing her happy, so I ruined it for her. Then she called me bitter and pathetic and said I was sabotaging her relationship because I'm lonely. I didn't even say anything. I just sat there stunned. Then she stomped off to her room and passed out cold. This morning, I woke up to find her sitting at the kitchen table looking rough. She was hungover and clearly very low. She mumbled something about how she doesn't know what to think anymore, and then said she thinks that her boyfriend is only with her for her money. I was genuinely trying to be kind as I felt bad for her, and it must have been a tough situation to be in. I told her I was sorry that she felt that and that she deserves better if that is how she's feeling. I thought we were having a real moment, but then she looked me dead in the eye and said, literally, and I quote, "This is your fault." My jaw dropped. I literally said, "Excuse me?" And she repeated it. She said if I hadn't blown everything out of proportion and gone to our landlord, none of this would have happened and her boyfriend wouldn't be angry with her. And then said, I ruined everything. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't fair. I've been nothing but fair, and I've tried so hard to set boundaries respectfully, communicate like an adult, and not cause drama. I've gone out of my way to make this place livable, and still, I get blamed for everything. And now I'm being guilt tripped because her boyfriend treats the flat like a free hotel, and she's too far gone to see it. Which brings me on to the next part of this post. Our lease is up for renewal on August 1st, 2025. Our landlord emailed us both yesterday with a standard renewal reminder and asked us to let him know by July 1st if we're planning to stay. So he has time to prep the paperwork or start listing the flat. I've thought long and hard about this, and I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to live with her anymore. Even if her boyfriend disappears tomorrow, the trust and respect is gone, and the ability to feel comfortable in my own home is hanging on by a thread. I won't be renewing my half. Whether I find a new place alone or with someone else, I'm not staying here. I haven't told her yet because I'm not in the mood to just get screamed at again, but I'll give proper notice soon and reaching out to our landlord to clarify the process. I'll do it properly and respectfully, but I know that I will no longer live here. I've mentally committed, and this weekend I'm going to start the flat/house share search. I'm equal parts nervous and excited. Nervous because I'm in a very good location right now and the rent isn't cheap, but reasonable for what it is. I know I might not get quite as lucky again, especially solo, but I'd rather pay a little more than keep sacrificing my sanity. I'm still sad that it came to this because this flat could have been a dream, but I know I'm making the right decision. I deserve a space that feels like mine, or at least one I'm not constantly being pushed out of emotionally. So yeah, wish me luck. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. Who you think is in the right, the wrong? Was she being a little dramatic? How would you handle it? Let me know. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.